but it's just one change in the starting lineup. Alfredo Morales, he steps in place of Maxime Chenot, who is on international duty. So the international break, I always say international break with quotes. So New York City's missing 2 players, which is significant because both have contributed mightily in the opening 4 matches of the year. On Ben Olsen's side for the Houston Dynamo, Olsen in his first season, Coco Carrasquilla is away with Panama. That's the big loss, but they also weren't hit that heavily. Ben Olsen, in his weekly presser, was asked about handling this. He's losing a top midfielder, one of his key players, and here's what Olsen had to say.
He's a crucial piece to what we're doing here. Big-time player on both sides of the ball. The way he can start transitions for us, his ground coverage, winning duels and helping us with possession. And again, he does a lot of work defensively for us in pressing, has a good read on it. Saying that, he's gone. So this is just what it is. The international break is here, and you just deal with it. It's opportunity for someone else to come in and fill his void. It's a big void to fill, but every team is dealing with something. In some ways, we're lucky to just kind of have one. I look at other teams; some have 2, and some teams have 5 or 6,
and some teams have 7. Atlanta United is missing 7 players. Let's scroll down to Minnesota. They're missing 7 players. 6 of those are starters, and Almada is one of the figures for Atlanta United. And Matty, I wanted to bring you in on this discussion because we spoke about it off mic last week, and you were looking back at what the championship had done, but indeed throughout England, how they handle the international break if the clubs are playing. Most of the time they're not playing, but if they are playing and the team gets hit heavily, and this seems like something that could be a solution.
Well, it's sensible for me, and I'm not just saying because it happens back in England, but the Championship and the Premier League don't play. Predominantly they don't play, or they don't play during the international break. But obviously we have 2 other leagues in the professional tier, the 4 tiers of the professional leagues, and not only that, but the leagues under them as well, which are growing in terms of quality. So any team within England, if it has 3 players away on international duty, you have the ability or the facility to have your game postponed, and that is that. And certainly this current international break, I think there's only 4 games going on in League One, which is the 3rd tier of English football, because of those international call-ups. There are teams as low down as the 6th and 7th tier of English football, so 4 tiers in the professional league, then the National League, which Wrexham are in, which is the 5th tier, and then the 2 leagues below those as well, 6 and 7. They also have games postponed because teams have 3 international players, whether it be because they're playing for Grenada, as they did against, Stockport County had at least 1 player playing for Grenada last night. And other teams win a multicultural, a multinational game this is. So everybody should have that ability to call off games, in my opinion. And especially when it's so unfair as you've got a team like Minnesota United missing 7 players, 6 starters, playing against Vancouver, who have 2 minimal players missing. It doesn't feel right that Minnesota missed their goalkeeper and 5 outfield starters, and they have to play. It's not fair. It's not a fair and just system. For me, it's a little bit backwards in terms of your forward thinking, because as a fan, I want to watch the best team that I can. I want to watch the best product.
Well, and there's only 17 home games. And if you miss the playoffs by a point and you were down 6 starters and lost that match by whatever score, it doesn't matter. You come away with nothing. You could look back on that and, every point matters, because I've read some things where, well, if it's going to happen, it's early in the season before the teams have still molded their squads. And I don't see it that way at all.
No, a point's a point. Isn't it? It doesn't matter whether you get the point in the first game of the season or you get the point in the 34th game of the season. If you miss out by a point, it could well have been in this international break. So Don Garber, the head of MLS, he always talks about, he's the marketing guru. He talks about product on the field, and you always want to see the best product on the field. But that's impossible during the international break because the best players, Thiago Almada for one, for Atlanta United, along with, say, Miles Robinson for Atlanta United, they're not there. It's not the best product on the field. So it's backward thinking for me that these games are going ahead.